little linchpin where that everything just fell apart from there. Just that one decision, and I think that's what makes Legacy so great. Is you got two great players facing off, two very different decks, even though there's some overlap there. You've got Stoneforge in both. The way that they used those cards in their decks was very different. And at the end of the day, it was Tom's tighter play and perseverance that led to the win. He hung in there. He did not despair. He looked for the opening, even though it was a long shot. It happened, and when it was there, he took advantage of it, and that is why he is in the finals.
Yeah, he found it with the help of his friend, true name Nemesis. Wow, hell of a magic card. Protection from a 15/15 Knight of the Reliquary, no problem. Wow, I'm happy that I'm not Tim O'Dowd right now, because I would be straight up annoyed at that true name. But you know what? He gets to go home in 3rd/4th place. He gets a hunk of cash. He gets he did pretty well. He's top 8 both Legacy challenges he's played in. He's top 4 both Legacy challenges he's played in. Clearly knows his way around this Maverick deck. And he's been working on it for a while. It's all foil. It's all blinged out. Man, who cares about Legacy?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure where he plays or if he plays on a weekly basis, but if he does, that is definitely the type of kind of error that you really learn from. You know what I mean? I have no doubt that Tim will be a stronger Magic player for experiencing that and, playing on camera, actually having that error like right there was in your grasp. I think that's the type of thing that, he definitely just the next time through understands to just take that extra second and think it through.
The -1/-1 card comes in. Tim, don't feel too bad. We forgot it as well, but next time I'm in that situation, I'm going to think, wait a minute. Tim O'Dowd, -1/-1, Golgari Charm, Zealous Persecution. Got to equip it to the big guy, or at least the Pride Mage. Maverick down. It's nice knowing you. We finally got a white creature deck on stream. We got a Thalia deck on stream for one quick round. All that's left is another deck we haven't seen.
Big red.
Big red, all in red. One of my favorites of all time. When I first fell in love with the archetype, it was in Onslaught Block Constructed, trying to play Form of the Dragon. That was my first experience with the big red deck, and I loved it ever since. Lay waste your land, shock your creature, maybe play an or not an Arc Slogger, but an Avarax, something goofy like that. Untap Form of the Dragon. That was fun. I don't think we're going to see Form of the Dragon today.
I sadly agree, though I have seen it in internal formats. It's not a terrible thing to tutor up with Rector.
Okay.
Before Omniscience happened, that kind of crowded out a lot of the good enchantments. Big fan of Big Red myself. It's actually some of the original Magic art I own is from my original Ponza deck. I ran back in Mercadian Masked Block. Flowstone Overseer by Andrew Goldhawk is one of my favorite pieces, the first original art I bought. And then Scoria Cat as well. We're talking big red creatures, land destruction,
hell yeah,
burn. It was a lot of fun to play until you ran up against Chill.
Ooh.
Which was legal in the format at the time. In 6th edition. Chill and Teferi's Moat were very punishing, but it was still a really fun deck, and that's something that's always kind of stuck with me is that original one. Hammer of Bogarden was another card.
Oh yeah,
I really love that, but it's improved a lot since the early days.
Hammer of Bogarden, and a good card back then, a recurring threat. Nowadays doesn't look so strong. We used to go to tournaments, PTQs back in the day, and there'd always be a gentleman, I don't remember his name, but he'd have a hat, and tucked in the hat would always be a Hammer of Bogarden. That's seared into my memory with that card. Definitely has a home in Big Red, a deck that can spend 5 minutes during upkeep to recur it.
Just
why not, right?
Yeah, it's fine. What else are you gonna do?
I love it, man. I love it.
It's inevitability.
I think this deck features Inferno Titans as maybe its fatty of choice. Premier red creature, 6-drop, deals 9 and then kills on the attack for sure. Or deals 3 and kills on the attack for sure. Gonna feature things like Sneak Attack to sneak them in. Going to be really interesting. We're working on getting that deck list.
Yeah, there's so many different versions. I can't wait to see. I actually played against a big red Sneak Attack style deck, mono red Sneak, probably within the last month. I don't even remember what list I was on. All I remember is my turn 1. I was on lands. I went land go, or maybe land exploration, something little, and he went turn 1 Seething Song into Sneak Attack. into Gristlebrand,
Yeah.
draw 14, put in Elvish Spirit Guide, Worm, World Spire Worm,
World
the
Spire Worm,
the
yeah.
15,
Yeah.
and an Inferno Titan.
Oh my god.
So on his turn 1, he attacked me with Gristlebrand, the 15/15, and the Inferno Titan.
Wow.
I lost that game.
Did you? Yeah. I guess your land
Like,
wasn't a maze of it.
It was not a maze of it. Even if it was, I would have been dead. I needed like crop rotation for Glacial Chasm.
Oh, that would have been a blowout.
That was the only thing that would have stopped that, and it only would have been delaying the inevitable because that was a very strong opening. So we'll see if this list has that optionality or if it's a little bit more Planeswalker-y, Chalice-y, Trinisphere type. There's so many different ways that this can be built, and it is, again, a deck that people very often don't have in their testing gauntlets.
Yeah, I know at the last Legacy Challenge, a big red deck top aided. It featured a lot of 2-mana cards.
Turn 1 Magus, and that is where you want to be with Blood Moon. You know, a turn 3 Blood Moon is something that people can beat. Let's take a look if Tom is completely cold to that. I believe he is.
Wow.
I believe that is actually going to prove to be the game. He will only have red mana for the rest of this game, and he has nothing that he can cast off of that.
Literally nothing can do.
That is literally game over. I believe Tom may be keeping a proud face here to make it seem like he's not cold to Blood Moon.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, there's one thing he can do. He can get to 5 lands and cast Batterskull.
Oh, you're very correct.
The only thing.
Yes. So good call there. He does have the out of casting a Batterskull and then also casting his other equipment to put onto the Batterskull. So good call there.
But he only has 6 more turns to do it. Let's see if he can find it. Chalice on 1, just in case. Just in case.
We've got huge dice.
Cover that beautiful
reminding
masterpiece.
him not to cast any of the 1-drops that he cannot cast anyways. 3 mana. Just kind of progressing here, and I believe, is that our Rabble Master?
Rabble Master. A very nice card for the big red deck, but it does get Force of Willed.
We have Trinisphere available as well. Not really going to do anything. As you said, his only outs here are Batterskull. And Magus is chipping away, showing the strength of Magus over, say, Blood Moon. And there's a second Magus turning this into a 2-turn clock. He has 1 draw step to draw his Batterskull, and even that may not be enough, even if he does draw the Miracle card.
Right, even then Ensnaring Bridge comes down, and eventually Zac Turgeon wins.
I'm not familiar with this invocation from this distance.
Could be a Hazaret the Fervent, I don't know, but either way, it's enough. The 2/2s are enough. That was great.
That was
Turn 1 win. Wow. So, well, that was after an intense Game 3 of the semifinals. That was a pretty quick Game 1. The all-in red deck takes it down. When Zac Turgeon opened his deck box there, I saw a Chandra emblem, so pretty clear that he has the Torch of Defiance in his deck. We're working on getting those deck lists. Zac Turgeon won that game even before we had deck lists. Zac Turgeon says, turn 1 win, shake my hand, the game's over. See what he wants to side out. Looks like the Rabble Masters, maybe the Trinispheres. Man, this is hateful.
I have a lot of experience playing against this. My local meta is really infested with Blood Moon / Chalice decks, and it is very, very difficult to beat once it gets rolling, depending on how you've got your deck configured. Let's take a look here. So we have the 4 Chalice, 2 Trinisphere, 4 Blood Moon, 4 Magus of the Moon. All of those cards capable of ending the game essentially on the first turn. First turn Trinisphere, very, very punishing in Legacy. Not quite as good as it was in Vintage, where people relied on Moxes as a significant portion of their mana base. But it is similar in that if Tom is relying on Deathrights or Noble Hierarchs to develop his mana, that may not be available to him if that Trinisphere comes down first.
Right. And I think I might have seen Zac Turgeon pulling out the Trinispheres to side out. I'm not positive about that. He may have. Some interesting additions from newer sets in this deck. He has 2 Hazoret the Fervent, that was that masterpiece, or invocation rather. The 4 mana God that has 5 power and haste, but can only attack if you have 1 or less cards in hand, as well as the 1 Quicksmith Rebel, a 4 mana 2/2 that pairs with an artifact and lets the artifact tap to shock anything, a player or a creature. And here we go. We're going to be off to game 2. Player's going to decide mulligans. Expect Zac Turgeon to take a lot more mulligans than Tom Smiley, by virtue of being this weirdo deck.
Yeah, it does need a good mix of acceleration. It is, in a lot of ways, an all-in deck. The difference being that cards like Chalice of the Void can come down after the fact and still potentially be a game winner. There are so many 1-drops that it shuts off, and it makes it very difficult to navigate around. Now that Deathrite Shaman, a very strong opening. It's going to make sure that he has access to at least 1 colored mana. Tom celebrating going to his second turn without a Blood Moon.
Brainstorm from Tom. He must be happy to not be playing against Permission after an entire day of battling through blue decks. It's kind of nice to breathe a sigh of relief to know that your spells are going to resolve, unless Pyroblast comes out of Zac Turgeon.
Important decision here. He's hopefully going to be able to fetch this away. Tom contemplating whether or not to attack. He's just going to go ahead and main phase this fetch.
Yeah, the attack for 1, it doesn't seem like the 1 damage is going to be what determines the match. Maybe keeping Deathrite up, even just to bluff a 2 mana spell.
Well, Abrupt Decay is really the card that I'd be looking to signal there. I don't think you generally want to be bluffing when you have a stronger play, but if you have no play, it is better to at least give them pause to think maybe now is not the time to run out this Blood Moon if I'm all in on it.
Right. Even if it only has a, say, 10% chance to dissuade your opponent, is that 10% chance better than attacking for 1? I'm inclined to think it is.
He has access to up to 4 mana here, and we're just going to continue brainstorming. Really just trying to optimize the hand. So this is really kind of like the mid-range big red. There's no sneaks or combo elements.
So it looks like True Name comes out from Tom Smiley. That's a good start. Even Zach's answer of choice, Fiery Confluence. All damage dealt by Fiery Confluence to True Name is reduced to 0, so that wouldn't work.
So it looks like we're playing with mountains from here. Unless we force, which he does. Daze would have been unable to answer that. Zach having that 1 red mana open. True Name going to be extremely difficult to deal with. Essentially, he's going to need to get down to less than 3 cards in hand to be able to have Ensnaring Bridge play defense.
Yeah, the actual only out for Zac Turgeon, none of his red removal that is normally good against these kind of decks, like Volcanic Fallout, uncounterable. But it won't matter, because all damage dealt to True Name is reduced to 0.
Tom in a difficult position of deciding to just continue to commit to the board with these Deathrite Shamans or to hold one back in case there is some type of sweeper. He's committed 3 to the board. And now they are gone. Really bottlenecking mana.
At the same time, this True Name Nemesis just keeps on attacking.
Well, he does need to get a lot of cards out of his hand here. There's the Ensnaring Bridge.
Wow.
That's the must stop card. And now he has to get below 3 cards in hand. He'll go up to 6 next turn, so he's going to have to play 3 cards. Yeah. Contemplating whether or not to cast this Null Rod here.
Yeah, he's essentially put into the position of having to draw a land next turn. So he can get rid of these really expensive cards. He has a 4-drop in Chandra, a 4-drop in Hazaret. He chooses to say go.
Down to 4. He's got 1 tap of Ancient Tomb left.
His best possible play here is probably something like Chandra, add 2 red mana, play another card, but I'm not even sure that that gets him under the requisite number of cards.
Chrome Mox could help getting rid of one of the more expensive cards in his hand and giving him some mana.
Yeah, that's the card he needs to draw. You're completely right. He does have outs here. 4 Chrome Mox in the deck.
If he does end up at 6 mana, he may be able to cast a 4-drop and the Null Rod. City of Traders also something. So 7 mana total. You can get down to just 3 cards. But he's not dead this turn unless Tom draws a Noble Hierarch.
Chandra Torch. No Force at Will for Tom Smiley. Two mana is added, Null Rod is played, and the turn is passed. Tom will be able to get Zac to 1 here, unless...
Daggers.
Noble Hierarch. So the handshake is offered, but they've got a game 3 to play. Tom says, I'm sorry, man. What a draw from Tom Smiley. It's his day. It's his day today. Top 4ing the Modern Plus, making the finals of this event. Very impressive from Tom Smiley.
That was the draw. That really was.
Gotta love Magic the Gathering. Sometimes you're down and out, you're reduced to your last draw phase, you have 4 outs in your deck, and lo and behold, it's there. Wow, so Zac gonna go back to the board. He did decide to side in the Null Rods. It's very interesting, an interesting choice. I think Tom might have sided out some of his equipment.
Yeah, Null Rod against Miracles was an absolute powerhouse. Things where they're looking to really continually activate them. It does, of course, shut down things like Sword of Fire and Ice and Jite. It's a half of an answer to Batterskull. It's still going to be a 4/4 Vigilance Lifelink. They're not going to be able to pick it up and put it down.
Right.
And that's, of course, until they answer the Null Rod, if they have the ability to do that. Utility cards like Abrupt Decay, it's not really, they're not in there to deal with Null Rod, but if they still have them in the list, it does make it less attractive to kind of bring in those type of cards, which, you know, best case scenario kind of answer some stuff, but they can still get trumped. It's not the most attractive line.
Yeah, so I'm not sure I agree with bringing in Null Rod. Hard to argue with Zac Turgeon here. He's in the finals. I'm not. He's played the deck for a long time. I haven't. So we'll see. Maybe he's sided out for game 3. Maybe he's kept it in. very least, it's a cheap spell to get under Ensnaring Bridge.
Now, Zac is really hoping for a turn 1 Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon. That is where this deck is its strongest. That is really why people play it, is to just make sure that it's not even a game.
Here we go, Zac with 7. One of the most important parts of the match, the all-in red deck 7-card hand.
We definitely see a Blood Moon and a Magus of the Moon.
One piece of acceleration in Chrome Mox. Does he have another?
And is a turn 2 Blood Moon good enough?
Right.
Tom has so many 1-drops, 8 different 1-drops. Noble Hierarch particularly strong in that it produces every single turn, unlike Deathrite, where you're only able to produce equal to the number of fetch lands that are out there. Noble Hierarch could really allow him to assemble a team of mana as well, even under Blood Moon, cast multiple Noble Hierarchs, and that would really undermine the whole strategy. It is all in. You're either completely shutting them off of mana or you're not, and if they have the ability to function at all, then Blood Moon rarely pulls its weight. You really want to make sure they are just sitting there congratulating you on your win.
Wow. Tom Smiley going to 5. He wants a Force of Will. He knows, okay, my red opponent kept 7. He might have a turn 1 degenerate play. I have to have a Force of Will.
Good keep by Zac. It's really signaling just how powerful the draw is. I don't think Tom's going to be thrilled here. Does he have the blue card to go with that force?
Wow, look at this. 2 Chrome Moxes from Zac Turgeon. Whatever he chooses to play here, he's going to get Force of Will if Tom has it.
I see 4 lands and a force.
He doesn't have it.
Interesting choice to go with the Blood Moon over the Magus.
Mm-hmm. Now this is a Quick Smith Rebel.
And he drew the blue card on the draw step.
Yeah, so force happens. Land, go. Land, go. Now Zac Turgeon should eventually win this game. And yeah, there it is. A few short turns, and Chandra will ult, and Tom Smiley will be all frowns.
Fire and Ice Pro Red likely not to come into play here unless he draws that Singleton Batterskull. It's Chandra just doing 2 a turn here. And the Magus to bring the beats. Multiple Blood Moon effects now.
You know, I thought foil unhinged mountains were expensive. These are expensive mountains.
I'm still a big fan of Arabian. That's the old throwback.
Yeah, Pat Sullivan would agree.
There we go. Tom's had enough. He knows when it's not going to happen.
Yep, Zac Turgeon is the winner. He emerges victorious from the Titanium Legacy Challenge, winning all the rounds of Swiss, 5-1-1 into the top 8, and then 3-0ing the bracket. Congratulations. He wins a bunch of money, $625 to Zac Turgeon. Congratulations, Zac. Tom, almost far enough. Almost.
Now, he played well all day. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that turn 1 Blood Moon sometimes.
You know what? He did what he could. He saw his 7, it had lands and spells, and he knew it wasn't good enough. He knew that he had to mull, try and find force in a blue card. He saw his 6, had lands and spells. He knew he had to mull, try and find force in a blue card. And
he got close.
He got really close.
He had force, no blue card.
Oh.
Even if he had force and a blue card, that Chandra was following it up very quickly. She
True.
would have threatened to take over the game. That was a really strong opening from Zac. Having a resilient mana base, that was not a multiple Simian Spirit Guide, I'm dead if this doesn't resolve situation.
Right.
He had 3 mana on the first turn in a deck full of bombs.
Wow. That was really impressive. You saw him put his hands on his head before he decided to keep. He's like, is this really what it comes down to? Do I just have to pray my opponent doesn't have force of will? And he didn't. So congrats to Zac Turgeon. We're going to get him in here for an interview as soon as possible. I think his friends are congratulating him right now. But as soon as that's done, we're going to get him in. You're going to ask him about the nuances of his red deck. As much as they are, it's just kind of a bunch of 4-ofs, but I'm sure you have some questions for him.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really fun to see a list like this. This is not what people think of a lot of the time when they talk about competitive Legacy. A lot of the time they think like it's all the dual lands and you have to own a play set of undergrounds and everything. I mean, here's a list that's running 11 basic mountains.
Right.
And it just absolutely steamrolled through those 2 games.
Now, after the interview's over, me and Eric are going to wrap up here for TJ's, but I hope you stick around because we're going to be hosting Snapcasters. They're having a Legacy tournament right now. They're about to play the top 4. The winner gets a Mox. Not sure which one, but I'm sure they'll say it. They're playing at MTG First in Maryland. Snapcasters partnering with Coney Fox Ponting. So please stay tuned. We have a partnership with them, and they're playing awesome Legacy too. So if you're a fan of Legacy, keep watching. Of course, they won't have such handsome men to look at, but we can't have it all.
Can't be everywhere at once.
No, we can't. No, we can't. We're here in the Northeast. Plus, those Maryland players, they play stuff like Dredge.
It's true.
They play non-blue decks. They probably play cheese like this red deck. But you know what? It won today. The Quicksmith Rebel. I guess the promo Quicksmith Rebel that I got for coming in second at some random store tournament is going to go up in value from 12 to 24 cents.
I mean, it's maybe a Legacy staple at this point.
Maybe. But hey, I'm going to step out of the booth for a second. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, Eric. I guess you're going to step out of the booth for a second. I'm going to interview Zac here. It's going to be the Zac on Zac action. What's up, man? Come on in.
Can I manage the stream first, please? Thank you.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
I got to shake the hand of a person who plays red like that. I played a list like this in Modern just last week, so it made me really happy to see this.
Cool.
What made you choose this degenerate deck?
Oh, I've played this for like 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, this is the only Legacy deck I play.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, there's just... It's what I like to do. You don't get to do it in every other format. They say no for the most part. They tend to ban fast mana and stuff.
This is true. I mean, Chrome Mox is kind of only the one piece that's missing from Modern. That's what
the Soul Lands.
The Soul Lands.
The Soul Lands are the big part.
Okay, cool. So you played against like a Leovold blue strategy in the finals. Is that a good matchup? A bad matchup?
It's a good matchup, but he isn't quite like he has Leovolds, but his main deck is like I know Tom and played him many times. He's like a Bant deck splashing black.
Yeah.
And the big part is the equipment, where other Leovold decks don't have equipment. He's like a Stoneforge Mystic deck, which is actually on the harder end of things, but because he's trying to put in so much into the deck and he has a super high power level, he can't afford to run basic. I know that Blood Moon is just it locks him off every card except for Batterskull. It's his only shot of winning once it's on the table.
Yeah, we saw you open your 7 for Game 3, and we saw you kind of put your head in your hands. You just knew that the Blood Moon was so powerful, right?
Right, yeah. If it resolves, I win. If it doesn't, well, then I have 3 mana on the table.
Okay.
I have another mana in hand, so I'm going to go 4, which means I can cast my whole deck at that point. Yeah. So even if he does have the Force of Will, he was on a mull to 5, that means he's on 3 cards. So then it's a top deck fight at that point, and I'm already starting off with 4 mana. So.
Sure, yeah. Now, you said you played this deck for a long time.
Yeah.
Did the Hazoret help a lot?
Yeah, so Hazoret is the newest, or actually the second newest addition to it, but Hazoret's been great. I used to play the Mogcatcher build. I still like that build more, but it hasn't gotten any new goblins in a long time.
Sure.
So this one allows you to fit in all the Chandras, and once you fit in the Chandras and you can't fit in like the whole Mogcatcher package, you're looking for the next best thing, and Hazoret's a way that wins under bridge and wins quickly when there's not a bridge.
Fair enough. When you play a deck like this,
yep.
What's the most important aspect
Mulliganing. Yeah, it's you don't have any card selection whatsoever beyond, I guess, card advantage from Chandra, but that's not exactly selection. So you need to know what hands you can keep. You need to know the odds of drawing a card that will add 2 mana, whether it be a Soul Land or a Simian Spirit Guide, because sometimes you'll keep a hand that will have 2 mana, and you know that if you can draw any of those cards in the first 2 turns, you can start putting out stuff way faster than you should. So it's a lot about knowing what to mulligan and not having any fear of playing. Like, you can't play around stuff with this. I guess sometimes your hands say that you can, but as a general rule, you do what I did in Game 3, and you just pitch your hand, play a Blood Moon. If it works, if it doesn't, then figure it out from there.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you get to go talk to your friends about how unlucky you got if it doesn't work, I guess. So that's good.
No, you don't have friends when you play these decks.
Oh, there it is. No one will play test with you, right?
It's not useful. People actually want to, and I have plenty of times with people, but overall, a lot of times it's either I win on turn 1 or 2, or they stop everything and then eventually take over. It's not a deck it can grind with creature decks and stuff, but decks like Death and Taxes and stuff are really its weakness. Death and Taxes and Sneak and Show are the 2 big bad ones.
Okay, so Death and Taxes, Sneak and Show. You don't play this red deck if you're expecting that in your metagame.
Yeah.
What's it really good against? If your metagame's infested with this deck, you should play it. What's that deck?
Lands, Turbo Depths, Elves, anything with like 0 basics, because you just have like so many haymakers. I think you're slightly favored against like the Blade decks, the Esper Blades and Death Blades and stuff, but you're not enough. Those are still very good games.
Right.
But yeah, mainly you beat up on other degenerate decks with the exception of Sneak and Show. So
That's definitely cool. Now I see 4 Fiery Confluence in your deck.
Yep.
This is a Commander card, right?
It came out of Commander, yeah.
Yeah.
Card's insane.
Yeah, it deals, 6 to the opponent?
6 to the opponent, or breaks artifacts, or is like a Pyroclasm type effect. That's how I won the semis coming in. I needed to top deck that, and I top decked that. He was at 8, so I flipped that, dealt 6, and then +2 with Chandra when he had lethal on the board. So it was a shotgun blast out of nowhere.
That's sick.
But it's such a versatile card for this type of deck. It does everything you need. And it's a main deck artifact hate, which is really, really important because you are really weak to Sword of Fire and Ice.
So if people want to play against you and this Legacy deck, where do you play it? Do you have a local store that you grind Legacy at? Like, when do you get to sleeve this deck up?
I play every Tuesday in Acton at Gaming Etc.
Oh, nice.
And I play on Mondays, not every week, but most of the time, at Next Gen Comics in Pelham.
Okay, so if you want to challenge Zach to a duel, if you want to sleeve up your basic land deck and your deck that's artifact kill,
I've had people do it.
you can go to Gaming Etc. in Acton. We partner with Michelle. Great store.
Yep.
Hey, how about this?
Oh, yay.
You get a plaque.
I get a plaque.
You get a trophy.
Okay.
Put that next to your original Blood Moon art on the wall.
I don't have one of those. I'm working on getting all the masterpieces now, but this will certainly go on the wall somewhere.
Yeah, that's sweet. You get some cash maybe to work towards the masterpieces.
That's probably what's going to end up happening.
Yeah, I love it. I love Magic. You have to just continually make your deck better, improve it.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of this one anyway, so that's why I finally decided to put in the money into it to make it all shiny and pretty.
Yeah, I'm going to have to port this deck to Legacy to see how it is. I'm going to send you my Modern deck as well so you can smash the TJ's tournaments with that. Anyone you want to thank? Anyone you tested with? Anything?
Well, I mean, like I said, I've been playing it for 5 years, so I've been testing with a lot of people. Specifically, like, that don't necessarily go to the stores. My friends Adam and Joe and Dave, and then everyone who goes to Next Gen, everyone goes down to Gaming Etc. You know, I play with them all the time, and if you look at these events, you will always find people from those places in top 8 year because it's a very competitive event, but it's also very fun. But you know, the people there know what they're doing.
That's awesome. Well, Zach, congratulations. You won the tournament. You took it down. You going to be here in August?
Yeah, I will. I will be.
I hope we see you.
I'll be playing this.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right, we're going to get Dylan and Eric back in the booth. Not sure which one we want here, but hey, we're going to get one of them back in. So come on in, Zach. Thanks.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
We're getting Dylan. You guys are going to sign.
Okay, Dylan. Yeah. Come on in, Dylan. Okay, like I said, after this, we're going to host Snapcasters. They're partnering with Coney Fox Hunting. They're running Legacy for a MOX at MTG First in Maryland. We're going to host them. But before we do, man, Hell of a weekend.
It's been a hell of a weekend.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted, I will tell you. I did not expect. I walked into this thinking, oh yeah, Magic Conference. It's gonna be a lot of work, but it's gonna be so much fun, and we have a great time. And then the dehydration and the lack of food,
there we go.
and the taxing mental, like, ooh.
We gotta thank everyone who did their part this weekend.
Oh,
from
everyone
the
worked
judges,
really hard.
The judges, the tournament staff, Jeff behind the scenes. Didn't go unnoticed, bud. Thank you.
Eric
Gil to set
did
it
a
up.
great job.
Yep.
Spectacular job.
Definitely, man. Thank you. Providing the insight into Legacy that I definitely lack. So appreciated. Everyone who came out to the event, thank you very much. Everyone who watched at home, thank you. Gaming, etc., Moose Loot, Flipside Gaming, our vendors. We wouldn't be here without you. Hope you guys did a lot of business. I know TJ's did. It was a good weekend for buying, selling, and trading. The Titanium Pluses have a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Not just the trading, but the side events. We had 3 PPTQs. We gave 3 invitations to the RPTQ. That's not going to stop anytime soon, so come in August. We have PPTQs. We have side events, wacky drafts, like Commander Pod, Standard, Modern, anything.
Team unified, constructed.
Yeah, I saw that fire off. One
Yeah.
player plays Standard, one player plays Modern, one player plays Legacy. Definitely pretty cool. Prep for the RPTQ for that. But until then, thanks for everyone. Thanks for you for watching mostly. Please follow our channel if you want to know when we're going to go live. But the next one, if you're in the Worcester area, August 28th, 29th, 30th. Next Titanium Plus weekend. I'll be there. Will
I
you
hope
be there?
to be there.
Cool, man. Until then, we're going to host Snapcasters. Stay tuned for more Legacy action. Zach called, Dylan Plord. We're signing off.
Thank you.